Wicka, 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 wicka. It's Jackie Juice and the big squeezy of beer.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Jockey Juice and the Big Squeeze. I'm Jockey Juice, and I'm joined here with the Big Squeeze. How are we, brother?
Josh, I've got no time for formalities. I've got no time for chit chat. We're here to talk about one thing only. Biscuits, mate.
Biscuits.
It's a
Biscuits.
classic. It's a staple of, I'd say, English culture. And when I came to this here great country, my world was rocked. Biscuits come out of my ears, Josh. We've put it out there, and we've had a lot of feedback. I know, Josh, you love biscuits. You love moon biscuits, disco biscuits in particular. But there's so many different kinds, so many different occasions. What are your thoughts, mate?
That's right. That's right. A biscuit for every occasion, a biscuit for every meal. So, you've been a big fan of the Afghan. You're on the Afghans since a young age, and then you stayed on it to a late age. What are we talking about first, man? So, what should we start with? What are you thinking?
Yeah, brought up on my mum's Afghans since a young age. Gave me all the nourishment and the strength I needed to grow into a resilient young man that I am today. And to be honest, when I go back home, I still like to jump on the old Afghan here and there and just see what happens. And it is quite tasty. We've had a lot of people comment, Josh. We had Amy talking toffee pops. Thoughts?
That's the all time favorite. That's the crowd pleaser. You know what I mean? Like if you go around to a friend's house, you're taking the thing of toffee pops. There's not going to be any toffee pops left behind. You know what I mean?
You're not going to go wrong, eh? You're not going to go wrong with a TP, as I call them, or T-pops. You can't really fuck it up. And if you meet someone that doesn't like them, you got to question their character. You're not gonna. Whereas if you meet someone that doesn't like, say, a mint slice, that's toffee pops. You'll play it safe. Everyone's going to be into it. Find someone who doesn't like it, Josh.
That's right. I'm a huge fan of toffee pops. Every day, every occasion. Like you can have that for breakfast. We're talking about after dinner mint. We're talking about a funeral. We're talking about a wedding. We're talking about a circumcision, or we're talking about a local little pool party. We're talking any occasion.
Literally anything. You go to a pool party. The good thing about that chocolate coating is they are sort of water resistant. You can go for a dip in the pool with a toffee pop, and not many crumbs on a toffee pop. So if you do bring them to a funeral as well, you're not spreading crumbs around the casket. It's all sort of contained within that chocolatey goodness. And I find the caramel center sort of catches the crumbs.
Oh,
Because I went to a wake once and I bought Scotch fingers, and I do love a Scotch finger, but crumbs everywhere, mate. And the bride there, I wouldn't call her a bride, the widow there's crying, and she's got little crumbs in her eyes. And I'm not sure if she's crying because her husband's been hit by a bus, or because she's got a couple of Scotch finger crumbs run straight into the pupils. So definitely toffee pop, it's always there for you.
yeah, toffee pops there for all occasions. So, what other kind of biscuits popped up? As you can see behind me, we've got the ginger nut. I don't know if the ginger nut was made during the war, like just because it's a hearty biscuit and like they decided that would survive in the harsh sun and the deepest winter, but I don't know where it came from.
No, I don't know if the guy who was making a ginger nut was fucking serious, or if he was taking the fucking piss, because I've never felt like a fucking ginger nut. I don't know if he was trying to fucking insult my taste, insult my palate. It's like it's a real hard fucking core biscuit, eh?
A hardcore biscuit, bro. You must have
Like
loved
I
it.
imagine that's like what, like at like a skinhead rally or something, bro. They'd fucking whip out the ginger nuts to get everyone G'd up, bro. Because when that ginger hits you, bro, you fucking kicked it. You can imagine a couple of skinheads, bro, just go ham on a bag of ginger nuts.
That's a car park. I'm not parking in there. I keep moving, bro.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Sorry about that. We've got Kerry writing in Monte Carlos, bro. I reckon that's like a high society biscuit. Even the name Monte Carlo, that's a fucking expensive place.
That's bougie.
I reckon, like, I'm a big fan of the Kingston. Got the pack right here, brother. I'm a big fan of the Kingstons, and they're sort of your middle class, middle upper class type of biscuit that you might have at, say, like a tea party.
Yeah.
At Aunt Fran's house. Yeah. Put on a nice plate and settle with a nice cup of. you're not gonna eat Monte Carlo straight out the packet.
Get the bread plate out. Sit at the table.
Get the yeah, sit at the table. It's not that funny. Boil the jug, G. Hey, get the old English breakfast tea out. Get the Monte Carlos and the Kingstons on the plate. You know that, like I'm not saying that it's age specific, because I do like a Monte Carlo and obviously a Kingston, but you know that the main demographic is 50-year-old white woman of like English descent. Like they're, you're not hitting the fucking crack pipe and then digging into a couple of Kingstons, bro. That's not the demographic they're going for.
No way. You're stepping into the sunroom where there's where there's a table with a tablecloth and a couple of bread plates and a bit of
like a butler brings them out, bro. A butler brings out a Kingston, G. You don't serve them yourself.
Nah, they come in the cookie jar.
So we're talking, and this one's by, you've already brought up the Afghans, but this one's from your lovely fiance there, Josh, and I think it's time to call a counselor, because she's talking cookie time cookies, but by the bucket. You know those little buckets you get at Christmas? I reckon that's a sign of an addictive personality if you're eating anything by bucket, whether it be KFC or biscuits. But I can't fault her. They are amazing.
They are a little treat, and they're bite size as well. That's the thing. You're just popping those in, not even chewing. You're sucking on them until they dissolve, and that's you.
You saved like 5 years off your jawline, because you no need to take any bites, bro. They just pop right in like a fucking pelican, bro, right down the gullet. Who needs to chew?
And they're good. And I'm talking with those. I like them a couple of days old. I'm talking, semi-soft.
You like a semi-soft, eh? You're known for being semi-soft yourself, Josh. So the glove sort of fits there.
Yeah, Donald Glover. Where the glove fits. I like them semi-soft. Really a little bit stale. Just unreal. The apricot ones too.
They're made for binging, eh? Like, you could easily work through a fucking bucket of those puppies and not feel the slightest like a bit bad about it.
Nah. You sit down the beach and you're passing those around, and you're not just taking one or two and putting the lid back on. No. They stay in rotation.
That lid's one way ticket. Once you pop, mate, she's done. I had one thrown a real span in the works. I didn't even know what it was. This one's Big Darren commented there. How I had that, as he said, the gatey. And I wasn't even sure, bro. That sort of put me on the back foot. And I had to Google it. And before I saw the biscuit, it had the definition. Gatey means a state of being light-hearted or cheerful. So that really set the tone for the biscuit. And when I Googled the gatey biscuit, it was like a sexy Tim Tam with wafers thrown in.
Oh, the Tim Tam with the wafer. Darren, you sexy man.
Yeah, instead of the biscuit base, it's got the wafer base, and it's probably twice as thick.
Oh.
So it's like it got way more girth, bro. It's like way more hearty, yeah. And once I Googled it, I've definitely had those, and I've enjoyed them. But it's a biscuit I'd never think to buy. But every time I have it, I'm like, oh, that's top quality stuff. Yeah. So definitely put that on the shopping list, people, and get your lips around a couple of gateys.
So we're talking the double decker Tim Tam, but with the wafer remix.
Wafer base, brother.
Oh, jeez, Darren, I'm
not trying to. Yeah.
Is he in real estate? I'm feeling like it's a real estate biscuit.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Pass that around to the clients, bro.
Oh.
Get them G'd up. I know he'd made a few sales just because of the biscuit, bro. So I love that. But next one, this one's like paying homage to obviously the beautiful country we live in and the beautiful country we grew up in, the Anzac. Oh. There's a lot of pride attached to that biscuit, but there's also a lot of taste. And what are you supposed to do there?
That's
Josh, the Anzacs.
It's rolled oats. We're talking, there's no chocolate in there. We're talking it's back to basics. It's a cold morning. You can just smell it drifting through the window as you're going to put the rubbish out. You're popping in, and Matilda's just putting it out. It sort of sums
up the New Zealand and Australian spirit in general, whether it's business or sport. It sort of always punches above its weight considering the ingredients. Like, you wouldn't think, if someone told me to put rolled oats into a biscuit, I'd probably tell them to go fuck themselves. Someone to whip that up, bro, and the Anzac just fucking bangs every time. And that's also a biscuit that I don't mind if it's a bit stale, a bit soft. Oh. It doesn't always have to be crispy around the edges. It can be a bit soft.
No, you almost prefer it a little bit soft, bro. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, bro. And that's
With a glass of milk, hey. Oof.
yeah, you're not having a cup of tea, having a glass of milk with that one. It's more of a morning biscuit. Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely is morning. Maybe a coffee, maybe like a coffee with no sugar, so the and it really sweetens it up. And it sort of is like a bit of a brekkie on the go because it's got the oats in there.
Definitely.
Um,
It's a young person's biscuit. It's a working man's biscuit.
that's why I like it. That's why I identify it. It's sort of So it's sort of the opposite of the Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
You're not serving that. You're not serving that on a nice plate. You're grabbing that right out of the jar, maybe fresh off the pan.
Oh, we're talking in the Tupperware. You roll up on site. Someone pops the Tupperware because Matilda's just done a fresh batch that morning, and all the boys are just reaching in. No one's washed their hands, but life's good.
Karen from accounts brings in a fresh batch on a Friday before the toolbox meeting, and the boys just start going fucking hammer and tongs.
No one misses a Friday. No one misses a Friday when Karen's doing a batch.
Yeah, it's and for me, this next one, bro, is a real close to home. I feel like my dad sort of helped pioneer and introduce this biscuit into the New Zealand market, and we're talking about the Scotch finger, Josh, the chocolate coated Scotch finger, of course. For all of you that know my father, when they were first released, they were cheap as shit, and my dad knows how to sniff out a good bargain, and he would buy them by the dozens, packs by the dozens, bro. I had Scotch fingers coming with my fucking ears, every lunchbox stacked with at least 3-4 Scotch fingers in there. Ooh. It's a biscuit made for sharing. It's sort of like, for the viewers out there, it's sort of like this puppy right here that I'm finger blasting, except it's joined. And so you got one biscuit, two mates, bang, done, 2 pieces, sharesies.
Biscuit, yeah, bro, unreal, man, joined it there.
And the crazy thing about that biscuit, I've seen it come from like a real working man's biscuit, 99 cents a pack when they first got introduced, and now we're talking $3.98 retail. Sorry. They've sort of worked their way up. Sort of like the American dream of biscuits, started at the bottom and they've worked their way up to the levels of the Kingston, maybe in terms of their social status and acceptability.
For sure, they look good on a plate, but they also look good, in the packet. It's kind of the working man. Maybe the Conor McGregor. He's a plumber. Next thing you know, he's got his own kind of whiskey. It's
worked its way to the top. So again, it's sort of remained humble though. It hasn't been as flashy as maybe the Monte Carlos or your Kingstons. It's still remained the working man's biscuit, but it's worked its way up definitely. And this one is a few people. So why'd you pop this one out? The iced animals, bro.
It's definitely one that you don't go in the store looking for, but if you see it, you're not going to walk past it.
That's sort of like, I feel like that's the one, like you're like a dad and you've got kids and you buy the little ice animal packets for them, but you sneak a couple on the side.
Yeah, bro.
Like you go shopping and you go to buy it and the missus is like, grow up, mate. But if you just claim it's for the kids, then it's all good. And you got little elephants, giraffes. I can't even remember what you got in there, but it's definitely like a little guilty pleasure. But you're not going to bring that to work, Like, mate, you're 30 years old, mate. Why are you eating ice animals? Whereas if you sneak it from a kid's lunchbox,
that's fine. And we're talking about you had a bit of a suck on the devil's lettuce, the electric poo-ha. It's at 11 o'clock at night, the kids are going to sleep. You poke your head inside the cupboard. There's boxes.
You've gone to sleep. You've woken up stoned and hungry.
You're waking up. You go in the toilet and you're going past the cupboard. You're like, I'm going to walk past. Am I going to put my hand in the chick cereal? No, I'm having some ice animals today.
And you sneak that in there. And Josh, obviously, this is sort of one from throwback from when we were 17, 18, Wellington. Not really one suggested, but the disco biscuit, Josh. Whoa, that's done some damage. Feel great on Saturday, feel like shit on Tuesday sort of biscuit. That's, you're definitely not going to be serving. You sort of like the Monte Carlo, you can actually serve them on a platter.
Yeah, it's a sharing biscuit too.
It's a sharing biscuit. Problem is, once you have one or two of them, you're not really hungry for anything else.
No, that's right.
Kind of got the lockjaw. That's sort of like a one-way ticket to lockjaw.
And it really complements a glass of water. Usually you really rip through the water when you've had a couple of disco biscuits.
If you have disco biscuits, it's definitely not milk. You need probably a couple of liters of water, maybe some antidepressants 3 days later. I don't fucking know, but it's definitely a hot and cold sort of feel good, feel bad, love hate sort of biscuit.
It's the party starter though.
It's the only biscuit that it's the only biscuit that I actually need to wear a mouth guard when I eat it, and maybe a muzzle, because you're not eating you're not going to eat your Monte Carlos or your Gaties with a muzzle.
No.
But once you have a disco biscuit, you probably, maybe even a ball gag. Who knows? Like, you need something.
Need something to sort you out.
It's the only biscuit. And it's always like, it's the only biscuit that I know that you serve with a side. Like, you buy that and you need to pack a Hubba Bubba to go on the side to complement it. Do you reckon? Like,
Comes as a combo.
Yeah. Like, can I upsize that pack of Wrigley's? And then obviously we've got, I'm not really sure what this is. This was by Jamie, and he said he really likes a soggy biscuit. I'm not sure if that's when you just get a biscuit, like a chocolate chip, and you dip it in milk. But he says, yeah, hammer and tongs, the soggy biscuit. He loves it. So I'm not sure what that is. Probably worth Googling.
Yeah, worth Googling. He said it goes around the rugby clubs. Definitely a fan favourite after a game.
After a big win.
After a big win, the boys kind of hook in with a bit of a soggy biscuit. So,
normally man of the match is sort of the focus, or fair enough. And then I'm not sure what that is, but that's sort of what the feedback we've got. Definitely worth Googling. All you young listeners out there, probably just ask your parents. And then the last one, and I'm not sure if this one, we sort of mentioned at the beginning of the show. From my understanding, this was actually baked by Neil Armstrong, and he took it to space. The moon biscuit. That's sort of like a tangy one. Sort of, it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes to eat moon biscuit, but some people obviously are into it. And we're not here to shame anyone if you like that.
That's right. But people that do like the moon biscuit are avid about it. They're really
they swear about
biscuit.
it.
They swear on the moon biscuit, and I know you're a massive fan of the moon biscuit. It's the reason that we've become friends. Bonded over it.
That's how we met, sort of thing. And the thing is with moon biscuits, there's heaps of variety. It's not like, the Anzac, you know what to expect. Whereas when you open your lips trying a moon biscuit, you never know what you're in for. It could be, who knows? It's sort of like a lucky dip. It's like Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. Well, for me, it's like life is like a moon biscuit. You never know what you're going to get next.
And you really got to commit to eating the moon biscuit too. You can't go half-assed about it.
Like, you got to lay a tarp down and stuff. Like some biscuits make crumbs, but like this is you got to lay a tarp down, have mouthwash on hand, like a bottle of bleach. There's like so much prep work that goes into it, as opposed to just say Scotch fingers that you just open and get into it. So yeah, I don't really know. Again, I can't say I've had a lot of them, but that's sort of biscuit chat, Josh, and definitely something we're into. But I guess on a more serious note, Jockey, we want to talk about, obviously, me and you, big keen on talking about mental health and for any brothers and sisters out there going for a struggle, and obviously about how fucked up suicide rates are in New Zealand and Australia, Josh. So, is any what's something that has really affected you, maybe a suicide or something that really, I guess, opened your eyes up to how serious this was? Because I never really thought it was a problem growing up younger, and then there was a few things, I guess for both of us that really open our eyes up to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's true, but it's true with I don't think it's just one certain thing in particular for me. I think it's just it happens to anyone. Like, I've got my younger sister, she's only around the age of 10 years old, but she goes to school, and there's been someone that was a little bit older that committed suicide at high school, and then I rang her that day, and she was just like, we were to go home that day because somebody committed suicide at school, which is pretty hectic. Like, wasn't going on when we were a little bit younger. And then, we've got someone I've got another friend of the family, I guess, and her dad passed away with suicide. And he was an outgoing bloke, just cruising, really good guy. And then, then even someone famous, like you mentioned Robin Williams before, it really affects just anybody, And it's just wicked.
It's a crazy thing, right? You think it's like, for me, luckily, I've never had anyone in my family or anything that had committed suicide. But for me, it was real opening. And like I said, Robin Williams, because I always thought he was just a real funny guy, real out there, real nuts, in a positive way, bro. And then to know that, rich, famous, successful, and that he could feel so unhappy with himself. I don't know. I guess that really opened my eyes up, because you sort of grow up thinking that, if I have a better job or more money or whatever, you'll be happier. But then that kind of brought me down to reality, instead of mental health doesn't fucking discriminate against wealth or status or skin color. It sort of just happens to anyone, bro. And then I guess another one for me was Chris Cornell, was like a singer I always grew up on. Love rock music. When I was younger, I really wanted to be a rock star, bro. And then, that was like someone I looked up to. And then when he killed himself, that was like, holy fuck, like that really shocked me as well in a way. So just like those sort of moments. And then you think about how many people that affects, and not just celebrities, like you're thinking someone you never met, you're talking about your sister's school, bro, and that affected you like 3 times removed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know people, friends of friends who have unfortunately committed suicide. And then, then it fucking, I've talked to my friends and they've been real, distraught from it, obviously. And then, then I've been really like emotionally moved by it. And that's like 3 people removed and I never even met this person, but just hearing about it is sort of, I guess, tugging the old heartstrings. So I guess the main thing is, chat about it, talk about it if you can. I mean, we've both gone ups and downs. Josh, luckily, we've always been there for each other and we've got heaps of good mates to talk to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing, bro. Have a chat over a biscuit even.
Yeah, well, that's it, bro. That's why we brought up Biscuit Chat because, we had a good time and you can just, we have a bit of a laugh, but then we can also do this. There's 2 sides to the biscuit, bro. So, which is a bit of
apart from a moon biscuit, that's a one way.
And another thing as well, just with the suicide thing is, it can affect anyone and everyone. So that like your problems might not seem that big to you, but just know that like they're worth like looking after yourself and talking about it. Don't be embarrassed and thinking that someone else's life is worse than yours, kind of thing. Like everyone goes through it, man. Like I'd rather you just talk about it now and we just hung out rather than something else more serious happening down the line.
Yeah, bro. If anyone's keen for a chat, bro, again, always be there for your mates. If someone wants to chat, bro, go buy the biscuits, get the coffee, rock around there. A couple of Scotch fingers never go astray, and a bit of a yarn with your mates. So keep that. I think it's getting better and better in terms of people, especially maybe in our generation, talking about it. I know, like my dad's generation, the older people. I think there's like sort of seen as being like a bit of a soft cunt if you talk about anything other than like, yeah, mate, I've got to go to the pub and watch the footy. Whereas I think that sort of needs to change as well, especially with the blokes, mate. We try to be hard cunts, but we're all Monte Carlos, mate. We all try to be hard on the outside, but really we're soft and creamy on the inside. So just let it shine.
That's right. Let it shine, man. You're not a little ginger nut. You're not just a little hard fella, because those things can easily snap in half and, you're just left in pieces. So,
yeah, bro. So
don't be a ginger nut. Don't be the ginger nut.
Yeah, don't. But if you are, also embrace that, baby. But have you ever bought a pack? Have you ever bought a pack of fuck?
I have.
Don't be. And again, we should open up about it. Like I haven't, bro. But if you have, I'm willing to listen. I'm not going to judge you. So have you bought a pack of ginger nuts, bro?
I have, and I thought that they were going to be. I thought they were like a healthy alternative. I was like, why is somebody going for like why else is someone buying it? And it turns out
yeah, true. Why else would you do that atrocity?
And they just take up room in your cupboard for freaking 10 years.
And they are solid, bro. Like you could break into cars with them, bro. You can knock someone out with a fucking ginger nut, bro.
I was walking past.
They don't go stale. They go solid, like a dog poo in the yard, bro. They just fucking dry out into this little rock. Yeah, fuck. I want to know who made it, bro. I'm going to do some research next episode. I'm going to enlighten you all. But I think
anything else on the mental health chat, bro?
I reckon just make sure, you always try to open up when you can, and your mates, if you know someone, like I say, even if it's a coffee and a bicky, just try to be there for each other, especially you guys in Sydney going through lockdown. That's always a bit harder, you're a bit more isolated.
For sure.
Sort of like, might feel like the last biscuit in the pack, but just know that there's more out there, on your own.
That's right.
Even if you feel like that, you know what? The last biscuit in the pack's always the most enjoyable. So there you go.
Unreal.
I think that's it for the app team. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me, Josh.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Really like that.
I really enjoyed that, bro. Thanks, you, mate. Biscuits.
Hey, thanks, mate. You're a top bloke, mate. Cheers. Wicka. It's Jackie Juice and the big squeezy of beer.